Hello there and welcome. It's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Me. Hello. I know I've had my hair cut. I know, I hate it. Never mind, it'll grow. Okay, so today I am making a glasses case. Yeah, I know, not very hard at all, but I'm going to make use of these metal clutches. Now, you get them on handbags and things, and they might be something that you've never actually tried, so, you know, it's good to try some new things. Now, I've got some fleece here as well, and I'm going to line it with the fleece so it's not too scratchy. I'm just lining this up so I've got bits saved. Okay. So, I've got my patterned PVC here. Now, it's really up to you. You know, if I had a bit more of the fake leather, the leatherette, then I would have used that, but I don't have enough, so I'm going to use this. But it's fine. Now, just grab my fleece here. Yeah, that's perfect. I don't want to use too much. I don't, you know, I do try and not cut things in the middle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 rectangles. Just get rid of that. Okay, I'm just cutting off the end there so that I can work with it. Making sure it's all lined up. And it is always best to cut on a flat surface. You know, if you're sort of floating it around in the air, then you're likely to go wrong. So let's do that. That's a bit do as I say and not as I do, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to fold this in half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice curve at the top, and because I've folded it in half, I know it's going to be symmetrical. Lovely. So get rid of that, just tidy up my side seam because I managed to cut it without one attached, and probably just do that as well. So that's grand. Alright, so I've got my bits now. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do an oval base. So I have my fleece again, and I'm going to fold it in 1, fold it in 2. Now what I'm aiming to do is I'm aiming to cut the oval slightly bigger, because I can then trim it down. But we all know that small things are difficult to sew, big things are easier, so I'm really off base there. Let's just bring this down. Now there is a mathematical equation for cutting ovals and circles, but I'm not going to bore you with it. So let's get that done. Okay, I'm going to use that oval because we know now it's right, and find a nice bit of cloth. Yeah, I'm going to do that little flower there. I know, you have to ignore me sometimes. And now I've got my matching. Now I have the sewing machine set up on quite a loose stitch. The reason for this is that I'm sewing 2 different type fabrics. I'm going to make sure my fleece is right side to right side, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew along one long side of this. And all I'm going to do is put right side to right side, and I've done that so badly. Never mind, never mind. And all I'm going to do is I've got the outer lining and I'm going to sew along one side. Now, sewing this PVC, easy this way round, it's fine. So what I've got now is my long side here. I've got it right side up and I'm going to sew this oval there. So I've got it flat, I've got the oval at the start, remembering to leave myself hem allowance. And with this hand I'm just going to hold on to it and then I'm slowly pulling this oval round. So you can see now it's picking up the other side. I'm trying not to stretch it because of course fleece does stretch. And just coming to the end now. Like that. Okay. So what I'm left with is like a little standy up thing. Now I'm going to leave this part of this just to turn it inside out, but I'm going to finish off the sew. So now I have both sides sewn up with the base on and a hole. Okay, so that's going to the side. So, flatten it out, right side up, a bit more clearer when you're using this one. I'm going to put the start, the apex of the oval, probably 1/4 of an inch in, and then I'm going to start to sew. And I'm going to keep the bottom flat, and I'm literally pulling this round. Now it needs to pick up the weight, so I'm going to make sure that this stays flat, and then I am literally just turning this round. Now when I come to the seam, I should be at the second apex. So, give me a good hearty tug, making sure that I can still see the base, the flat one. So, and if I need to pick up my foot just to pull it through, then I can do, but I can only sew probably 1/2 inch at a time. I just, there's not enough room. And if I made this base any smaller, then I would have more difficulties. But whereas the fleece is on the inside, nobody's going to see it. Oh, we're going to see this one, so when it's finished. Okay. Now, I don't need to leave a seam for turning it inside out on this one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up the other 2 sides. Easy. So what we've got left with is a tube. We are going to do, drum roll please, the magnetic bag clips. So let's open these up. What I'm doing is I'm just separating them so that they're in piles. Now, they only come in one size in England. I don't know if you can get smaller ones elsewhere in the world, but they only come in one side here, so I know they are a bit big for this really, but principle's still the same. So what I've done is with a spare bit of fabric, I have cut 2 squares. This is because I felt like it, really. No, if you're, these are okay, but if I was using, say, just a cotton, we could have a cotton bag, then it would really be a bit of a pain. It would be a bit too weak, really, and you'd be able to see the catches as well as not just feel them. Okay, so this curved bit here, I've placed my supporting fabric over and I've folded it inside. Okay, I'm going to take sharp crafting scissors, and what I'm going to do is, if I lie that there, I can then do 1, 2 slips. Okay, that was a bad idea, wasn't it? And lie that there, and then I can just line them up, and then I'm going to do 1, 2. Now, with luck, I have managed to cut through my supporting fabric and my fleece, and I haven't. Okay, I'm going to take the supporting fabric off just for a moment, and then I'm going to just do that again. So 1, 2. Alright. This then goes on the outside side, okay? Now, this is then going in the lining, so we're on the lining. I'm going to put my supporting fabric, and if you like, you can put supporting fabrics on either side. You will be able to see that supporting fabric. Now, that bracket, I'm literally going to push close. Now, you should be able to do it with your fingers. If it is difficult, then you can hit it with a hammer, one side, then the other, and obviously I'm having difficulty. So yeah, that's that. So it wasn't too hard, was it? Now, I'm going to open it up again. I'm going to line up my supporting bracket, and I've literally just folded this flap over. Couple of snips, and we can use that as a guideline. And then same again with my supporting fabric. So I'm folding it in half. 1, 2. And this doesn't need to be big. So I can place that there, and then I can grab my popper, my magnetic clip. I'm going to put it through the holes, my supporting fabric, my spacer, and then I'm going to fold over these flaps. Okay, now if you want to trim this, you can do, and in fact I'm very carefully going to just trim this at the top so that I can see. So now what we need to do is we need to turn this inside out, and we're going to place it in here. Now, if you think about it, what we've now done is we've put right side to right side. So we're going to slide it all the way down, and I'm going to match up the seams here. So there we are. Nice and easy. Grab the sewing machine. I'm going to start just before a seam so that I've got it exactly in the place that I want it to be, and then I'm going to sew. I know you can't see. All I'm doing is very carefully sewing around the top here, and I have my seam. I'm putting seam to seam and slowly turning it round. So, you know, I'm only sewing a little bit at a time. And what I'm going to do when I do anything fiddly and little, I'm going to then take it out and I'm going to check that I haven't come off. You know, I've just been sewing the lining. So we do have to be very careful because obviously we've got the needle near the metal clasp and we could hit the metal clasp, break a needle could go flying. So, you know, we do have to take our time. So, turn it over, check that you've got a nice line, because this is the line that you're going to see. Now what we need to do is we need to open it out, so we've got both right sides out, and we need to pull. Sorry, it's making such a noise. We need to pull this out, okay, and yeah, please just ignore the noise. Sort of making squelchy noises, which you might not be able to hear actually, but such is life. If you've got a pen handy or you've got a knitting needle, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pen in the hole and just use that just to push out that seam so it looks really, really neat. Because we don't want to lose that lovely curve that we put in on the oval on the base, because that's what I'm pushing out now. Okay. Lovely. Oh, I wouldn't have used it if I'd known it was going to sound quite as bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just pushing the lining in, and I have my naked edge here, which I'm just going to push close. And I'm going to secure it with a couple of stitches. Lovely. There we go, get rid of that. Now all I need to do is I need to push the lining inside. And again, I can use my pen just to push it home, push it into the corners, and that'll keep it all really nice. And then I'm going to take hold of my magnet and just pull it out and straighten it. Now, depending on the fabric that you've used, you may need to just do a row of stitches there and there to stop the sort of everything from turning inside out. But got our glasses here, and hopefully I didn't do a very good job of turning that inside out actually. Never mind. Check our magnetic catch meets up, and hopefully we can put our glasses in there. So all is good. Okay, thank you so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and yeah, give magnetic catches a go. Remember that you might need to just use a little square of cloth just for the backing, and yeah, fold it over to cut rather than try and cut through. And yeah, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye bye.